everybody, and welcome to GameGuru MAX live broadcast number 91, and today I'd like to show you another demo. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me fine, and if everyone can, or at least one person can in the live chat in a window that you cannot see, then I shall proceed with what I want to show you today. So, I'm just reading through the chat. The last thing I see for anyone who's actually joining us live is Lee is live once again! Exclamation mark. As opposed to Lee is alive once again. To speak to the possible rumour that Lee is actually a vampire and he only works at night and sleeps during the day. Okay, thank you, Tom. Yes, we can hear you. Brilliant. I can get to carry on talking. So, this live broadcast is separated into two chunks. We have a demo section where I demonstrate something, and then the second part is a Q&A, which is essentially you asking questions and me and one or more of my team members answering them. You can ask your questions right away, and those questions may get answered in the first part, but I will ask one of my teammates where we got up to, and they'll answer questions directly from then on until hopefully we get through all the questions from the live chat. So that's essentially the format. If you do want a question asked, answered, just stick a question mark at the end. It's much easier for me to find it, or my team members to find that question, and then let me know whether that question has been already answered or whether it's still outstanding, and then I can answer it in the second part. So that's essentially the introduction. I want to get straight into what I want to show you. So I'm going to switch over to here. And you probably figure it out by now. That's right, Aztec Game Kit. Now what is that, I hear you scream? Well, this is the first DLC that we're going to release for GameGuru MAX. It's centered around the Aztec theme. But the thing I want to highlight before I go and show this demo, this is just a demo to demonstrate the content. And we'll be doing that for all future DLCs. If we have a DLC, rather than just give you lots of assets, we're not just going to provide a level, we're going to provide an actual demo game project. So you can actually play with all the assets and get a feel for the full content that you're getting. But I need to highlight the differences. If anyone's from the GameGuru Classic world, we just bombarded you with potentially thousands of assets in a DLC, just a big bunch of certain things. With Max, we're going to do things a little bit differently. The game kit is essentially as it sounds. It's a kit that lets you make a simple game quickly. So rather than just like 10,000 buildings, or 5,000 characters, or 4,000 bottles, 10,000 crates, we're actually going to assemble all the minimum set of things you need to build a game in that theme. So the theme obviously is Aztec, and the game kit suggests then that we will provide you with characters, scenery, weapons, collectibles, all the things that you're going to need to make a simple game in that theme. And of course, game kits will be able to continue to grow them, updating existing game kits and also releasing new ones for any themes that the community feel is ripe to be created. So we'll typically use third-party art for all of the game kits, and of course some in-house stuff as well. The reason we're doing that is that we can accelerate the delivery of these themes to you. Obviously with GameGuru MAX we've got a much better model importer, so you can actually still go to third-party asset stores and get 3D models and sounds and music that's built into the software. But there really is no substitute for assets that we've already tested and made compatible with GameGuru MAX, and that's what the game kit's about. We've done all that work, so you just get it, drop it in, and you can start actually making a full rounded game. Not a huge game, it's a simple game, but it lets you make a rounded game with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let me just go through the demo. Now, because the sound effects, because with game kits you get music and sound effects thrown in, it's all part of the minimum set of requirements to qualify as a game kit. The alternative to game kit is a booster pack. So we won't abandon the idea of, like, say, 500 characters. You know, you can't make a game just out of characters, but we open up the possibility that we will still do these booster packs. But there'll be a distinction between a pack, which is a lot of one thing, and then a game kit, which is a little bit of everything to make a game of that theme. And in this game kit we do have music, Aztec flavoured music, we have Aztec flavoured sound effects, And because of said sound effects, the sound may drown out my narration. So I'm just going to quickly telegraph what I'm going to show. I'll show it, and then I will end the test level, and then you should be able to hear me again. So what I'm quickly going to show you is when I run the level, I'm going to show you the weapon. So the player gets an Aztec dagger, and it has two modes, sort of backslash and forward slash knife activity. And of course the melees is melee button, which is the alt key, is the quickest version of that. So if you need to do a quick, slightly lower damage attack, then you can do that. Then I'll run forward and I'll trigger a warrior, an Aztec warrior. That's going to be, he's currently hiding behind one of those columns. So he'll come out and start doing his thing. Then I'll go up to the slaves and I'll take the health, which is their collectibles. And then I'll stab the slaves to show that they run away for self-preservation. Then run up the Aztec temple and have a quick look at Mr. Priest. Then jump back down, stab some warriors and some other characters down there. And then that will be the end of the test level, and I'll show you some of the assets in a little more detail. So without further ado, I am going to run the test level, and then I'll show you all of what I've just said. Okay, so I won't narrate, because I don't want you to sort of miss what I'm saying. I'll just go through the motions. So here are the attacks, and then I'll keep quiet. And we're back where we started. So that was, it literally took 20 minutes to write this level. The good news is that this isn't the final level. It is the final level if we literally run out of time, but we have a level designer who's a million times better than old me to create something more interesting with a lot more narrative. But the fact that I can actually knock that up within 20 minutes with the Aztec Game Kit is pretty cool. And all the stuff that you saw there, built-in logic, it's all there for you. But let me show you the assets. Just want to quickly run through. Like all game kits, they'll actually be post-fixed with the word Game Kit. So you know that when you get a DLC, that's a game kit, you'll actually find it quite easily in the categories menu. And we're going to stick with common folder names so you can very quickly get at what it is you want. I need an Aztec character. Well, there'll be a characters folder in the Aztec Game Kit, and so on and so forth. So even though we've given you 9 characters, this is a tiny subset, because another thing we're going to do with game kits is every character that's in the game kit will actually be creatable in the character creator. So everything you see here is actually built out of body parts, headdresses, all the things that build up a character, and all available in the character creator. All we've done is created 9 characters just to get you started, so you can click them and drop them straight into your level to get started quickly. But if you want a character and you don't want that particular headdress, or you want to change the tattoos or anything, the footwear, then you can do that. And you go into the character creator for adult male and adult female, and you can change the character parts. And if you want to be silly, you can even put in character parts from anything that's not related to Aztec. You could have an Aztec wearing a flight helmet if you want to, if that's available. We figured that was important to let you mix and match the way you want to create. Might be a bit silly, but sometimes creativity can be very silly indeed. So these are just things that we've created, 9 characters just to get you started. But as I said, you can use the character creator to create a lot more, and there are a lot of body parts in the Aztec Game Kit. Some collectibles to start you off. We've got 2 different kinds of heal. a small heel and a large heel. Scenery is where it's at. So we have a lot of Aztec pieces. I've just dropped down, I think I dropped down like 4 pieces, but there's a lot more here. So you can see lots of columns you can use. Then we've got lots of brick ruin pieces, different structures of different sizes, archways. We've got little sort of overgrown statuey things, steps, and that was the pyramid that you saw, the full pyramid. That's a big one. And if you just want that little temple piece at the top of that building, we've separated that out. And then lots of lovely walls. So you can imagine, if you've got the walls, then you can create buildings. You can create, flip the wall on its axis, and now you've got ceilings and floors and columns to hold it all up. So these are effectively what you would think of as building blocks, and from these you can create larger prefabs. And finally, the weapons folder. We currently only have one weapon, which is the Aztec dagger. The good news is the player can use this. It's also something you can drop in and collect, and also you can assign it to character enemies and allies as well. So giving this to a character, and the character is now able to run around with the dagger and attack the player, or an enemy if in case of an ally. And I imagine you're saying, well, Lee, why are you not demonstrating that? I'd like to see some melee combat. Well, I haven't created it yet. That's been done after this broadcast, in fact. I have all the animations, I have the behaviour most of the way, but I wanted to make sure it was right, and you've got a good cut and parry between the player and the character. I do have some ideas as well that I still want to try out. But yes, by the time you get the game kit, you will be able to drop in an Aztec warrior with the dagger, and they'll be able to attack you, and you'll be able to attack them, and a good gameplay will ensue. We do have more models. We have them on standby. We have a blowpipe, we have an axe, an obsidian axe, and we have a spear. But we're still working on animations for those. They are going to be part of the Aztec Game Kit, so if they're not in the initial release, just hold your breath for a little while, we'll get those in. Those are priority items to get in. But for that first release, we're definitely going to have the Aztec Dagger be able to use by both player and characters. And like with all our DLCs from GameGuru Classic, we'll continue to expand on these. If there's more weapons that come into our possession, think actually with a paint change that could be an Aztec weapon, then we'll expand these game kits as we go along. We'd like you to click on weapons and have a good selection of weapons here and a good selection of collectibles. I mean, we've just named it health. It might be that. And the reason we named it health, if you go into the Max collection, you'll actually see it's mirrored here, health. And so you can see all these other categories will tend to use like keys, switches, etc. So we're using these simple folder names, so when a new game kit comes out, you'll very quickly be able to navigate straight to that folder that you already know about, you're interested in adding that into your particular game theme. So that's the Aztec Game Kit. It's being released very soon, and I hope you enjoy it, and please do let us know what you think. If there's anything that you'd like to see as a priority, or whether you want to leave it to TGC and our artists and our third-party artists in order to slowly expand that game kit over time. So that is what I wanted to demonstrate in the demo part. If I had a lovely splash screen which flashed up Q&A time, then I would play that video right now. I don't have such a video. I'm hoping to get one soon from the production department. So until I have that, I'm simply going to drag across the live chat window so everyone gets to see what I see. And if anyone from the TGC team has been keeping tabs on the questions, and there's any questions that have not been answered, absolutely feel free to cut and paste those questions in now, and I will answer those. So in order to avoid not answering the same question twice, I'm going to pick up from right now questions from that big yellow one. So Unbox a Hindi question: will GameGuru MAX include features like shop, daily login ads, so that we can earn from games we make, because nowadays people have stopped paying for games, especially in my country of India. Monetization, basically. There are no plans to put monetization inside games right now. I think we do have a job of work to round off what we've got, to add things like RPG game mechanics and puzzles and VR. These things we feel are very important for our rounded game maker. But if other people back up that sentiment that yes, we want some form of monetization, perhaps something through Steam, then please do comment it in the GameGuru forums. I'm happy to answer that in more detail. But yeah, it's not been a big request up until that question just there. So, looking for another question mark, just to keep things simple. 6 question marks from Monkey Frog Studios. Can we confirm with a firm yes or no that SSAO will indeed be added to GameGuru MAX at some point? If we're talking firm answers, no. There's nothing on the roadmap, and I don't want to big your hopes up. So assume SSAO will never appear in GameGuru MAX. If you want something a bit more quasi, I don't think it's a huge amount of work, especially if it's already in the wicked graphics engine. Just a case of switching it on, isn't it? And of course, what is SSAO for everyone else out there? It's called Screen Space Ambient Occlusion. It gives you those lovely little creases and dark shadows in corners when there's no more light sources in the scene. So you'll notice that if you're in complete shadow and there's no light sources, everything kind of gets washed out. SSAO adds an extra level of detail at the post-process phase, which lets you have extra detail using the geometry at that final stage of rendering. Very cool feature. I personally would love to see it, but I can't give you a categorical yes because it's not on our short-term roadmap. Right now we're looking at a lot of fixes and tweaks and improvements, optimizations to make sure that our release continues to hold up and stay solid. So hopefully that's a categorical, ruthless, firm answer for you. Here's a question. Can someone who had GameGuru like a 2-3 packs, $40, get a discount for free GGM? There was opportunity to get discounts in the past. I am unfamiliar, personally, with if there's any discounts available right now. So great question. That will be answered later on officially by the team. Here's a question. Will we be able to customize the player more, like changing separate walking and running speeds, crouch height, characters, main height? I'm assuming then this is player more and then character. Okay, so we'll assume you're talking about the player and customizing the player. One thing I didn't mention is that the weapon that you just saw, the Aztec dagger, it's actually using a new weapon system that was devised for this game kit but will actually be extended to the whole of the software. And one of the cool things about it is that the hands are now separate from the weapon. So when I come to add the obsidian axe into the Aztec weapons folder, all I got to do is change that static dagger to a static obsidian axe, which has already been created. Super simple. And of course, the upshot of that is you can change the hands down the road. From male hands to female hands to hairy hands to black, green, orange, blue hands to alien scaly hands, whatever you like. That's been a long-standing request. We finally got round to it, and that's the new weapon system. So expect that to morph into very cool things in the future. But as to the question right there and right now, if I can find it again, I don't want to go off on a tangent, as is my custom. Separate walking and running speeds, crouch heights, character main question. You can do a lot of that in the gun spec if you're developing your own weapon, but I know what you mean. You want to be able to take a weapon and modify it slightly. And currently that's not available. You have to go into Notepad, and that's not very user-friendly. But we are looking at how can we have partial customization of existing weapons, like retexturing them, changing the sounds, changing the speeds and strengths, like you said, and then having your own version of that weapon and having that for your game. And it's a great idea. It's not on our short-term roadmap, but please remind us of that in the issues board as a feature request, because I think that's the direction we need to take and keep everyone away from Notepad. Okay, my questions are scrolling so fast I may actually run out of screen before I get to it. Okay, this is one from UmiGAS. Is each biome going to have a unique pack? No, there's 7 biomes available in GameGuru MAX. You can choose from either of those. There's no plans that each biome is going to have its own DLC. We are certainly planning to increase the number of biomes, and we are certainly going to open that up down the road so you can create your own custom biomes and just add them to your GameGuru MAX selection. But yeah, there's no actual thought process about each biome will have a DLC behind it. At least nothing I've heard anyway. Okay, next question. Monetization, as in selling the game, or in microtransactions. So that's a terrible idea. So I guess that's just a comment. Looking for another question mark. Is it possible to import models the entire house flats with interiors and furniture that the player can then enter? I've already tried it, but the furniture floats in the room and texture errors. Yeah, that's already been done. I've seen people import huge models, lots of meshes, and it contains doors, stairs, rooms, corridors, roofs, multiple levels. In fact, if you go to the buildings category in GameGuru MAX, there's actually full buildings that you can just drop in and then run around. So it's certainly possible. I apologise, I do have a cold right now. If you have any questions on how to do that, then go to the GameGuru forums. We have answers for you there. Here's a question from Jason. Do you got a Trello board or something to see the progress and planned things? Don't have a Trello board. We are working on an internal roadmap, and once that starts to stabilise, we'll be happy to share some of the things. We'll telegraph some of the things that we're going to be releasing next. But we've learned the hard way that we don't want to telegraph too far into the future, because technology is very much like quicksand and things can change quickly. So we don't want to disappoint. So we kind of keep our cards a little close to our chest on that point. Here's a question. Nomad Soul, can we see the short-term roadmap? See previous answer. Okay, sorry, that was the shortest answer in the world, wasn't it? But if you want to be more specific, absolutely post another question. So here's a question from another one from Jason. Will we be able to change the in-game UI eventually too? You can do that now. If you go to... Shall I show you? Shall I go off the live... completely off the map? These are them here. Look. I went into the advanced settings, go to settings and switch them on. It gives you access to the game pause screen, the sub-screens, the control screen. I can move things around. Et voila. When you customize that, do your save standalone, your game has just been customized as you see fit. And we do plan to increase the customizability of these by letting you add your own items and specify the functionality of what happens when you click aforesaid items. So you can do that now to some degree. This was the official reply by GameGuru. It looks like you get the answer right now. The best deal currently is the starter pack at 20% off, and there's the link in the live chat. Don't think it's a complete link, yeah, it'd be great if someone could post that link again as a fresh item in the chat, because currently it ends with ... and anyone who's seen this in the video will not be able to click the live chat. At least I don't think so. Another question, this is from Tom. Are you still intending to add the option to automatically add wildlife into the terrain editor? Yes. In fact, that was the reason we created all them mammals and birds and fish. We kind of wanted you to just select your biome, run it, and then it was pre-populated with animals. And it's not actually a huge job. It just fell off the end as we was coming to release the very first early access version. But yes, it's still very much part of our plan, not only to add those automatically generating and disappearing animals, but also increasing the number of animal types as each biome requires more biodiversity. Okay, this is a question from CJ. Will the new weapon system mess up the current weapons? I've got a fair few custom weapons already, so I'm concerned the new weapon system will break. It will absolutely not break the old weapon system. That would also break all the weapons that we've currently got, things like the pistol and the shotgun and all the rest of it. So it basically supplements the current weapon system. But we are hoping down the road, at least all the official weapons will adopt the new weapon system because it gives you more choice. So keep an eye out for that, something we're really excited about, and it will allow your games to have that extra level of customization that you're going to need if people are going to take your modern 3D game seriously. Here's a question, any plans on adding scale changing with writing numbers, like decimal numbers, since sometimes the scale changes too much for some models, change from 50 to 51. Yeah, if you see a gadget, a slidey, or a value that's taking only integers, and it's ridiculous because 50 and 51 is like beginning and end and you don't see the change and you want granularity with floats, let us know. We are already in the process of finding those values that need more granularity and switching them to floats. That's an ongoing process for us. So if anything specific that you've spotted, we will be able to read your mind. Put it in the issues board, we'll find it, super easy fix, and then you get the extra fidelity. Here's a question from Squiffy Plays. Can you import models into GameGuru MAX like FBX files? You certainly can. It's called a model importer. It imports FBX, GLTF, and OBJ, and our internal DBO format. So go check out the model importer and see how you get on. Mileage may vary, and we're still working on the model importer because there is a gazillion versions of variants of FBX. Not so much of GLTF, that's a pretty solid format, but FBX, there's so many different versions of it. So your mileage will vary, so I'm just giving you a bit of a warning up front. Okay, question marks. We looking forward to question. Is from Unboxer Hindi. Can we add video in storyboard editor? Not at the moment, but it's something that is on our roadmap. It's a great idea to go to a screen that just plays a video, then it moves on to the next screen. Right now, you kind of have to be in the level, drop down a video zone and specify a video there. But I completely agree, there is a definite need that in the storyboard you can drop in a screen that just plays a video and then moves on to the next one. So keep an eye out for that one in the storyboard updates. Question mark, yeah, there's a question mark at the end. This is DLS Lee. How would I be able to add characters from previous packs like the Fantasy Goblin? I can transfer to FBX, but how do you assign AI and animations to work? Universal. Yeah, that's one of the things that currently is not forward compatible. Characters that were created with the old GameGuru Classic Character Creator are completely different than the character creator that we redeveloped from scratch for GameGuru MAX. And that's because we wanted the characters to be right at the very edge of what a modern game should have. So our new characters in GameGuru MAX, they have better animations, they have higher fidelity animations and geometry and textures. They have ability to build all of the different heads, bodies, arms, legs, headdresses into one model instead of being all separate. And they have lip sync, be able to speak, and an adaptive animation system. So instead of holding every animation for everything ever, you can just pick which animations you want in that character. Had to rewrite it from scratch, but it absolutely is a much improved system. So if you have any old characters for maybe a game that you're working on, it's probably an idea just to use the new character creator and create your new characters. I do understand though that you might want a goblin. We currently don't have a goblin in GameGuru MAX character creator body parts, and I dare say there is a system to gruelly port over your body parts over to the new character creator so you can recreate that goblin. So if you are interested in going through that heavily tech artist procedure, let us know in the GameGuru forums, or even put a feature request in the issues board, because we look on the issues board quite a lot these days. But yeah, there is going to be little forward compatibility for the old character creator characters. That's just the nature of the beast when we wanted to make so many improvements to the characters in our games. Okay, do we have a question? Yeah, there's a question from another one from Squiffy. Also, why are you selling free packs? Can you sell free packs? From the Unreal Marketplace is paid. I have the booster pack in my UE4 game, so how can you answer that? Are we selling free packs from the Unreal Marketplace? I think that would be illegal, wouldn't it? Taking somebody else's stuff and then selling them. So please send us a link to these free packs on the Unreal Marketplace. The stuff we sell, we have full licensed from the original artists. And anything that isn't licensed from artists, we create ourselves. And we own the IP too. We're very, very careful about what we sell and all the assets that we place in GameGuru MAX. So please do send me a link to this free pack from the Unreal Marketplace. Cheers. Bouncy Sky 152, is there a button to add custom menu buttons? Not at the moment. See previous answer about storyboard updates. We've kept it like the ability to just move things around and change the graphics and the text and the fonts and stuff, because they're already tied to functions that work. When you start adding new buttons, what's that button going to do? So we also need to work on that mechanism where you get to choose what that button does when you click it, and that's why you're not seeing it right now. We're still ironing out the exact level of functionality you might want in your different screens. Here's a question from Jaybird. Max, will there be four-legged AI like dogs and maybe a horse? We have, if you look in the Max Collection animals, we have foxes, skunks, rabbits, a couple of other things. They all have 4 legs. If I read into the question, perhaps you're asking, is there going to be a point where the character creator, one of its character types, could be animal? Well, now you've got a four-legged animal that you can change the head, body, legs, tail, headdress, saddle, whatever it is. I think it's a great idea, but it's not something on our short-term roadmap. But we certainly have four-legged beasties right now, and we do, as I said before, plan to expand that as required by the biomes initially. Just checking the clock, we are at 7:31, which, according to my math, means we've done a 30-minute broadcast, which I think is pretty decent. And I apologise, there are more questions, but we do need to let Lee get some sleep at some point, or in this particular case, to get back to working on the Aztec Warrior combat system, so you can play with that in very soon. So, I'll answer 2 more questions. That's how generous I am. 2 more questions from the next 2, whatever they may be. Good question. So I guess that's answering somebody else's. Zorgo gets the next one. Will there be an option for adding random text and images for loading menu screens in the storyboard? For example, the engine randomly choosing a text close to load. Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of functionality I was talking about. You know, if we let you add new things, what does that new thing do? And randomly selecting from a list of text, that's a great feature. Please put that in the issues board. We should keep, that's a keeper. Because I need to think of all the functions you might want to edit in the screens through the storyboard. And the last question, that looks like an answer. Next question from Zero. Will there be the possibility to add a different loading screen for each level? Yeah, as I mentioned, imagine storyboard updates where you can add screens. I mean, you can do that now, but instead of just adding new levels, you can actually add a whole new screen and then edit it the way you want. Maybe it's a screen that asks you to enter a certain password, or there's a safe you've got to crack. And so you've got like just a 2D interface. You win or you lose, and then you go back to the level. Things like that. So that's absolutely how we fully envisage the storyboard when it's totally complete with all the screen editor features and be able to add lots of extra boxes. Right now, the only thing you can add is the levels, so you can chain levels together and have levels linked in different ways, and all of the other screens you can customize them in many ways, but those are the essential screens in order to have a safe standalone game that has all the necessary screens for a safe standalone game. So I can see there's more questions. This has been a very popular segment. It could be a possibility that we extend the Q&A, but I do want to let everyone get some sleep whilst I crack on. And so I apologise if I can't get to any more questions. So please hold on to those thoughts. I will be broadcasting again next week. It's next Wednesday, 7 PM GMT. I hope you enjoyed my little show and tell on the demo, and I hope you got some answers today. So until next week, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And I'll speak to you all next week. So until then.